The arrival of the galaxy had many planets, many species, and many wars. But there was one planet that every alien feared to mention: Earth. A planet full of storms, volcanoes, strong gravity, dangerous animals, and creatures that fought for survival every day. The aliens called it a Deathworld. And from this place came the most dangerous soldiers the galaxy had ever seen. The Deathworlder Special Forces. In the outer zone of the galaxy, a planet named Varnock 7 had become a key battlefield. Thick jungles covered its surface. The air was humid, and strange creatures moved in the trees. It was the perfect place for an ambush. A group of alien mercenaries had taken control of the southern region. They worked for the Zarn Coalition, one of the powerful alien alliances fighting for control of resources. The alien commander, General Krrx'tal, stood tall with his sharp armor shining in the dim light. His 4 eyes scanned the jungle from a tall platform built above the trees. His soldiers were fast, strong, and trained. They had defeated many enemies in the past. But now they waited for a human supply unit to pass through the jungle path. General Krrx'tal laughed when he heard that the humans were sending their elite unit. He had heard the stories. Humans from Earth, survivors from the Deathworld. But to him, they were just myths. No soldier could be that strong. No planet could be that deadly. They bleed like the rest, Krrx'tal said. We will crush them, his soldiers agreed. They placed motion sensors across the jungle, set traps under the soil, and even released drones in the sky to watch from above. The plan was simple: wait, attack, and destroy. But the waiting became strange. One of the outer sensors blinked red and then went silent. A soldier was sent to check. He never came back. Maybe a beast got him, Krrx'tal said. A second sensor failed, then a third. Suddenly the drone feed went dark. One by one, the cameras stopped sending signals. Something was taking them out, Krrx'tal growled. Ready your weapons. His soldiers moved fast, forming defense lines and preparing for battle. They pointed their laser rifles toward the trees. But there was nothing. No movement, no noise. Just silence. Then one of the soldiers screamed. When the others turned, he was gone. Only his helmet was left, lying in the mud. Panic began to grow. Inside the human dropship, flying high above the trees, the Deathworlder team leader, Captain Ray, watched the mission data on his screen. His face was calm. His team was already on the ground. These soldiers didn't wear heavy armor. They moved silently, using the jungle as cover. They didn't rely on machines. They trusted their training, their instincts, and each other. Ray opened a channel. Team, Phase 2 begins. No mistakes, a voice replied. Copy, targets isolated. Back. On the jungle floor, the aliens continued to search. They shot into the trees. They shouted to each other. But it didn't help. Suddenly, 3 more soldiers were gone. No gunshots. No sounds. Just gone. Krrx'tal's bodyguard turned to speak, but something pulled him into the shadows. Krrx'tal stepped back. For the first time in his long career, he felt fear. These ... These are not soldiers, he whispered. They are ghosts. Then, finally he saw one. A human, light armor, mud on the face. Eyes sharp and cold. Moving like a predator, silent, fast. Krrx'tal raised his weapon, but the human vanished. Screams filled the jungle. Explosions lit the trees. The Deathworlders had struck in just 15 minutes. The alien base was overrun. Some tried to escape. Others dropped their weapons and begged. But the Deathworlders showed no mercy. Captain Ray walked through the smoke. The battle was done. His soldiers stood quietly, checking each other and scanning the area. One of the younger soldiers, Leo, looked at the destruction. They were waiting for us, sir, he said. Ray nodded. They always are. Leo asked, why do they still fight us? Ray replied, because they don't understand. Not yet. Leo looked confused. Understand what? Ray stared into the burning jungle. What it means to be from a death world. Above the planet, in a command ship, an alien officer watched the battle report in horror. This was not a battle, he said. This was a message. He turned to his superior. Do we send more troops? The reply came quickly. No, we do not send anyone. We stay away. Let the humans keep Varunok 7. The officer nodded, his hands shaking. Yes, sir. Far away, across the stars, word spread fast. The Deathworlder special forces had arrived, and they had left nothing behind. First contact, the jungle of Varunok 7 was silent again. Smoke rose from the burned-out alien base. The ground was wet with rain and blood. Trees stood tall, hiding the shadows of what had happened. There were no bodies left. The Deathworlders had cleaned the area before they moved on. In a dark cave near the river, the human special forces waited. Their armor was scratched, their faces were dirty, but none of them were hurt. Not even one. Captain Ray sat near the entrance, checking his map. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. He looked at his team: Leo, Tom, Mia, Dane, and Cole. All of them were focused, ready for the next mission. 3 hours of rest, Ray said quietly. Then we moved to Point Echo. Leo wiped mud from his hands. They didn't even see us coming. Tom gave a small smile. That's the point. Mia, the sniper, looked up from her scope. One of them screamed before I took the shot. I think they knew, Ray nodded. Good. Let the fear grow. Back at the alien headquarters on Station Dorax 12, panic had begun. The report from Varunok 7 shocked the command council. Over 80 trained alien mercenaries had vanished. No escape. No survivors. Only wreckage. The High Leader, Commander Arvik, slammed his fist on the table. This is unacceptable. How can a few humans defeat a full unit? A scientist stepped forward. He looked nervous. Sir, they are not just any humans. They are Deathworlders. The room went silent. What does that mean? Arvik growled. The scientist took a deep breath. Earth is classified as a Class 5 death world, high gravity, violent weather, deadly creatures, constant wars. Survival is not easy there. The people who grow up on that planet become different. Another officer added, they say Earth's air is filled with poison, but the humans adapt. They say their oceans have beasts larger than ships, but the humans still swim. They say fire and ice fall from the sky, but the humans walk on. Arvik shook his head. Stories, legends. No, sir, the scientist replied. Proof. He clicked a button, and a screen lit up. It showed footage blurry, taken from a damaged drone. A Deathworlder soldier moved through the jungle, dodging lasers, sliding through mud, and taking down 3 enemies in seconds. His movements were fast, smooth, deadly. These are trained fighters, the scientist continued. They don't rely on machines. They use instinct, discipline. Pain does not stop them. Fear does not control them. That is why we cannot win using normal methods. Arvik stared at the screen. He felt something he had not felt in a long time: doubt. On the planet below, the Special Forces unit moved toward Point Echo. It was another small alien camp, hidden in a mountain pass. Their mission was to wipe it clean. As they moved through thick trees and sharp rocks, Leo asked a quiet question. Captain, do you think they'll ever stop sending soldiers to fight us? Ray replied, not yet. They still believe they can win. Tom added, but every time they try, we show them what Earth taught us. Leo smiled. What did Earth teach us? Ray stopped walking. He looked back at the team. Earth taught us to fight, to survive, to suffer, to protect. Everything out here is easy compared to Earth. That's why we win. The team continued their silent path through the jungle. No footsteps. No sounds. Like ghosts. Inside the alien mountain base, Commander Valric prepared his soldiers. He had been warned about the Deathworlders. He believed in discipline, not fear. They are not gods, he told his troops. They are flesh and blood. We can kill them. He placed extra traps at the entrance. He ordered laser cannons to scan every corner. He placed psychic sensors to read thoughts and movement. We are ready, he said, but he was wrong. The Deathworlders came not through the entrance, but through the cliffs above. Mia took position on a ledge. Her rifle was silent, her aim perfect. One by one, the guards fell without a sound. Dane and Cole climbed down using ropes. Moving like shadows, Tom crawled through a tunnel under the base. Ray and Leo moved together, knives in hand. Within minutes, chaos broke out. The alarms rang, lasers fired in every direction. But no one knew where the enemy was. Valric shouted, "Find them, kill them." But then he saw something in the shadows, a human. Eyes cold, face painted in mud. Moving without fear. He aimed his weapon, but the human was gone. Another soldier screamed. Then silenced. In 20 minutes, the alien base was destroyed. Later that night, a small alien scout ship picked up a single survivor, one of Valric's guards. His body shook. His skin was pale. The medic asked, "What happened?" The soldier whispered, "They come from the dark. They don't speak. They don't stop. They are ... death." Back in space, Commander Arvik received the new report. His hands trembled. 2 outposts lost. No warning, no survivors. The Deathworlders had won again. He turned to his officers. "Send a message to all commanders. If they see the humans in the field, ... retreat. Do not engage." "But sir, retreat," Arvik shouted. "Or die." Inside their base camp, the human special forces sat around a small fire. They didn't laugh. They didn't cheer. They just rested. Leo looked up. "Captain, do you think they're afraid of us now?" Ray answered, "Yes, but fear is only the beginning." Leo nodded. "And what comes next?" Ray stared into the flames. "Respect or surrender." The fear spreads. The fear was growing. Across the galaxy, in every war room and command station, one name was being whispered again and again: Deathworlders. Alien generals held secret meetings. Leaders argued in fear and confusion. The humans from Earth were not like the others. Their special forces were quiet, deadly, and unstoppable. In one corner of space, the Zeller Council held an emergency session. The Zeller were known for their strong military power and cold logic. But now, even they looked worried. "They took Varnok 7, said one council member. "Then the mountain base at Echo Ridge. 2 full units gone. No distress calls, no survivors." Commander Thalos, the oldest and most experienced among them, looked at the reports. His voice was calm, but serious. "It is not just their weapons. It is who they are. Earth is a monster of a planet. Only the strongest live there. Their soldiers are shaped by pain and hardship. We cannot fight them like we fight others." Another voice spoke. "Then what do we do? Surrender?" "No," Thalos said. "We understand, we learn. And we pray we never face them directly." On a transport ship heading toward the front lines, a young alien soldier named Rek sat in silence. He was just 19 cycles old. This was his first battle. He held a small photo of his family. His mother had hugged him before he left. His little sister had cried. Rek promised them he would return. Now, he wasn't so sure. Around him, other soldiers talked nervously. No one joked. No one laughed. The name Deathworlder hung in the air like poison. "I heard they can breathe fire," one soldier said. "No, they eat metal," said another. Rek didn't believe those stories. But he knew one thing for sure: even the bravest officers were afraid to face them. He opened his datapad and began to write a message. "Dear Mother, if I don't return, know that I fought hard. But the truth is, I'm scared. They say we are being sent to stop the humans. But no one believes we can. I don't want to die, but I'll do what I must. Love, Wreck. Back on Earth, far from the war, a training base stood hidden inside a mountain range. Snow covered the peaks. The wind was sharp and cold. Inside, new recruits were being pushed to their limits. No heat, no breaks, no soft words. Only orders and pain. A large man with a deep voice shouted, "You want to become a Deathworlder?" Then, EARN it. One recruit fell. His hands were shaking. Blood ran down his face, but he got up. No one helped him. Captain Ray, now back on Earth for a short break, watched from the side. He nodded to the training officer. "They'll make it," he said. "Not all," the officer replied. "But the ones who do, they'll be ready." Ray remembered his own training, the freezing nights, the broken bones, the lessons of survival. Earth didn't care if you cried. It made you harder. It made you stronger. And that's what the galaxy didn't understand yet. On the warfront, Rek and his unit arrived at Outpost Greyline. The sky was red with dust. The land was dry and cracked. Nothing moved. They were ordered to prepare the defense. The Deathworlders were coming. Rek stood near the wall, his hands shaking as he held his weapon. His eyes scanned the horizon. Nothing. Then the radio cracked. Movement detected. West side. Multiple signals. The commander shouted, "Get ready!" The soldiers aimed their guns. Drones flew into the air. Sensors were activated, but there was nothing on the screens. No visuals. Only the sensors blinked, on and off. Suddenly, one of the drones spun out of control and crashed. Then another, and another. Rek's heart raced. He looked through his scope. A shadow moved, then silence. A scream. Then two. Then an explosion. The Deathworlders were here. In the chaos, Rek ran behind a wall. He saw a human soldier for the first time, not a monster, but something worse. Calm, focused, silent. The human looked straight at him. Rek froze. But the soldier didn't shoot. He just moved on. Like Rek wasn't even worth the bullet. Later, when it was over, Rek was found by a search team. He was still alive, hiding behind metal plates. His body was not hurt, but his mind was broken. He kept repeating the same words. "They don't stop. They don't sleep. They are death. The story of Outpost Greyline spread quickly. News reached all major alien networks. Secret files were leaked. Videos showed blurry images of humans moving like shadows, vanishing in smoke, leaving no trace. On social media across the galaxy, the name Deathworlder became a warning. If you see one, run. If they're sent to your planet is already lost. Deathworlders are not fighting a war, they're ending it. Alien parents told stories to their children. Be good, or the Deathworlders will find you. And slowly, the galaxy began to change. Some armies refused to fight humans. Some planets banned human troops from landing, even the powerful Zarn coalition started secret talks to avoid more battles. The fear had spread, not because of how many Deathworlders there were, but because it only took a few to change everything. Back on Earth, Captain Ray read a message from Command. Mission success. Outpost Greyline secured. No casualties. Enemy retreat confirmed. Rest. You deploy again in 72 hours. Ray closed the file and looked at the stars outside the window. We are not the monsters, he whispered. But they made us this way. The truth of Deathworlders, stars above Outpost Greyline, were quiet now. The smoke had faded. The wind blew dust over the broken walls and burnt machines. But deep inside every alien heart, the memory of what happened there still burned. The Deathworlders had left the outpost. They didn't take trophies. They didn't stay for praise. They moved like ghosts, there to do one thing only. Wind out in a secret military station far from the front lines. Alien generals gathered for one last meeting. This time, the faces were tense. No jokes, no proud words. We need to understand them. said Commander Irel, his voice calm but heavy. "Not just their weapons. We must learn why they fight like this, why they never stop." Another general added, "We outnumber them. We have better ships, better tech, and yet we lose. Why?" The room went silent. Then an old alien, one who had studied Earth for years, stepped forward. He placed a datapad on the table and spoke slowly. "Because Earth is not like our home worlds. It is not soft. It is not kind. It teaches its people through pain. It builds warriors without meaning to. Even their children grow up with struggle." He showed a short video on the screen. A young human child climbed a mountain during a storm. Another ran through heavy rain, training with others, falling, getting up again, and running more. "These are not soldiers," the old alien said. "These are children, but look how they train. Look how they suffer and still move forward." "One," General whispered. "No wonder their warriors have no fear." The old alien nodded. "They do feel fear. But Earth taught them to keep going, even when fear takes hold. That is the difference. That is why we can't break them." On a dry, dusty planet called Taurix IV, the largest battle was about to begin. Alien armies had gathered from 3 different systems. Thousands of soldiers, tanks, and drones filled the area. High above the planet, warships hovered in silence. This time, the aliens had planned everything. No mistakes. No weak positions. No surprise attacks. Commander Karn, leader of the Zarn Coalition Army, stood on the battlefield with confidence. He had studied every human tactic. He had brought the best weapons. He believed this was their chance to push the Deathworlders back. "They are strong," Karn told his officers. "But we are many. We will crush them today." But high above, inside a small human dropship, Captain Ray stood in front of his team, the same calm look on his face, the same cold fire in his eyes. "Our mission is simple," he said. "Cut through their lines. Hit the command center. Break them before they understand what's happening." Leo checked his gear. Tom and Mia gave each other a nod. Dane and Cole tightened their armor. No one spoke much. They had all fought together many times. Words weren't needed now. Ray looked out the window. "They came with thousands. But they don't understand." He turned back to his team. "We don't win because of numbers. We win because we're Deathworlders." The human drop pods hit the ground with fire and dust. Within seconds, the team spread out. The alien soldiers opened fire. Explosions lit the sky, but the Deathworlders moved too fast. They didn't march in lines. They struck from shadows, from behind rocks, from under the ground. They didn't wait. They didn't fear. Leo rolled under a tank and placed a charge. Boom! Metal flew through the air. Mia took down a dozen enemies from a high tower before. They even saw her scope. Tom and Cole moved to the left flank, breaking defense lines with silent speed. And Ray led from the front, cutting through the chaos with sharp moves, leading his people like a force of nature. Inside the alien command center, panic began. They're inside the wall. Where are the drones? Why can't we stop them? Commander Karn watched the screens as his forces fell apart. It didn't make sense. It wasn't possible. He grabbed a weapon and ran outside. He had to see it himself, and then he saw Ray, not a monster, not a machine, just a man. A human. Covered in dust and sweat, moving with calm, killing with precision. Karn raised his weapon. "Stop! I am Karn of the Zarn Coalition. You are outnumbered." Ray looked at him. Double quotes. "No, you are outmatched." He fired. Karn fell. The alien army watched. Their leader died. And then they ran. The battle was over in 2 hours. 2 hours to destroy a force 10 times larger. As the Deathworlders stood among the wreckage, Leo spoke first. "They said this was their strongest army." Ray nodded. "It was. Then what now?" Tom asked. Ray looked at the sky. "Now they stop trying to fight us. Now they start to fear us. The news of the defeat on Talrix 4 hit the galaxy like lightning. Footage of the Deathworlders moving through fire and smoke spread on every channel. Alien citizens watched with wide eyes. Children hid under blankets. Soldiers questioned their orders, and leaders began to change their plans. Some stopped, sending troops to human zones. Some opened talks for peace. Some simply stayed silent. The truth had finally reached them all. You don't win against Deathworlders. You survive if they let you dot in a quiet part of space. On a small human ship, Captain Ray stood alone, looking out at the stars. He remembered Earth, the cold nights, the loud storms, the training, the hunger, the pain. He remembered why they fought, not for glory, not for power, but for peace, because only those who knew true pain understood the value of peace. The message: the war was not over, but something had changed. After the fall of Talrix 4, alien forces across the galaxy began to pull back. They no longer rushed into battle against humans. Instead, they avoided them. The name Deathworlder had become a warning, a threat, a legend. In every system, in every military outpost, commanders whispered the same words: if the Deathworlders are deployed, it's already too late. The Zarn Coalition, the strongest alliance of alien empires, was silent for a week. No statements, no attacks. Then, for the first time in years, they sent a message to Earth. It was simple: we wish to discuss peace. In the High Council room on Earth, leaders from the United Earth Command sat around a long table. Screens showed maps, signals, and news from around the galaxy. The message from the Zarn Coalition played again. We understand your strength. The alien voice said, we no longer seek war. Let us speak before more blood is lost. Some Earth leaders wanted to continue the fight. They believed this was the moment to take control, but the generals of the Deathworlder Special Forces had a different view. Captain Ray stood before the council. His face was calm, his voice firm. We are not here to conquer, he said. We fight to survive, to protect. We never wanted war, but we will finish it if we must. A silence filled the room. Then the highest-ranking Earth commander nodded. Send them our reply. Tell them we will speak. But not in fear, not in weakness, but in strength and peace. Meanwhile, on a faraway alien planet, a young soldier named Rek walked through a hospital hallway. His body was healed, but his mind was still full of fear. He had survived Outpost Greyline, but he could never forget what he saw. He sat on a bench, watching other injured soldiers. An old general walked up and sat beside him. You saw them, didn't you? The general asked. Rek nodded. They didn't look like monsters, but they moved like shadows. They were fast, too quiet. We couldn't stop them. The general looked into the distance. That's what makes them powerful. They don't want to be heroes. They don't need medals. They just do their job. And that job is death. Rek took a deep breath. Then maybe we should stop fighting them. The general smiled. Maybe we should start learning from them instead. A few weeks later, on Station Helios 1, a meeting between humans and aliens finally took place. The room was large, quiet, filled with tension. On one side, alien diplomats and generals. On the other, humans in black uniforms, calm, unreadable, confident. Captain Ray was there too, standing at the back. Not to speak, just to watch. The alien leader, a tall figure named Velen, stood and faced the human side. We believed humans were weak, emotional, disorganized. We were wrong. The room remained silent. Velen continued. Your soldiers, your Deathworlders. They taught us something. He paused. They taught us fear and respect. Then he bowed. For the sake of peace, we ask, let this war end. The lead human diplomat stood. We accept peace. But remember one thing, Earth does not start wars, but we finish them. Far from the talks, in a training base deep in Earth's frozen mountains, new recruits ran through the snow. Their clothes were soaked, their bodies tired, but no one. "Stopped," a drill instructor shouted. "This is Earth. This is the Deathworld. If you survive here, you survive anywhere." One of the new recruits, a young woman named Kayla, slipped and fell. Her hands bled, her knees hurt. But she stood back up. Another trainee helped her. "Keep moving. No one gets left behind." Captain Ray, visiting the camp after the peace talks, watched from a distance. A small smile formed on his face. He turned to a young officer beside him. "Why do they still train so hard?" The officer asked. "The war might be over." Ray looked at the mountains. "Because peace never lasts forever," he said. "And Earth doesn't raise soft soldiers. We prepare for what comes next." Across the galaxy, the story of the Deathworlders was no longer just a tale of fear. It became a story of respect, survival, and strength. It became a reminder that humans, though few, could change the balance of power, not just through weapons, but through will. Posters began to appear on alien worlds. "Respect the Deathworlders. They don't fight for power, they fight because they must. And if they rise, run." Alien Academy started studying Earth survival training. Soldiers tried to copy their tactics. Some even visited Earth to learn from the source. But no matter how hard they trained, no one could fully understand what it meant to be born on a world where nature itself tried to kill you every day. In his private quarters, Captain Ray sat alone. He opened a small metal box. Inside was a photo of his old squad, the first team he ever fought with. Most of them were gone now. He touched the photo gently. "We made them fear us," he whispered. "But we never lost who we are." He stood up and looked at the stars outside. "They'll remember us not because we were monsters, but because we were human." The end.